Yes, folks, our dear leader Jacinda Ardern is now entertaining the idea of changing our national anthem. This woman is absolutely dangerous. She is hell-bent on changing everything that has made this country good and replacing it with her global socialist agenda. She wants New Zealand culture to be anti our white heritage, anti-Christian, anti-men, anti-family, anti-freedom, anti-life, and anti-unity, etc. And she wants to replace our culture with a dysfunctional, divided identity politics culture. A culture that will lead to anarchy, which will lead to a mandated socialist tyranny, their ultimate objective. Anyway, I'll start this off today with our dear leader.
This election, I will be asking New Zealanders to continue to support my leadership and the current direction of the government, which is grounded in stability, a strong economy, and progress on the long-term challenges facing New Zealand.
So I take it then, Miss Ardern, that changing our national anthem is one of New Zealand's long-term challenges. Anyway, hat tip to Nona Halal for this one. And folks, I've posted a link to this article in the description below. Here we go again. We must relive the Christchurch terror attack again and again and again, so that Jacinda Ardern can force her globalist worldview on New Zealand. Time to change the national anthem. PM weighs in. As the anniversary of the March 15 terror attacks in Christchurch approaches, there has been a call to change the way we sing the national anthem, God Defend New Zealand, and the Prime Minister has acknowledged that many people may back that call. Hobsonville woman Fiona Downs wrote to Jacinda Ardern last year saying the anthem has outdated language. I feel the language in the first English verse is arcane, she wrote, and that words like triple star, shafts of war, and entreat are meaningless to many migrants with limited English, as well as most New Zealanders under the age of 30. Well, who gives a damn about migrants? This is New Zealand. Get used to it, or go back to where you came from. Ardern agreed. She told Downs the language is certainly a product of its time, and advised that change could evolve if enough people supported it. So we're going to have another referendum, are we, Jacinda? Just like your progressive buddy John Key's flag. Oh, another photo of Christchurch. Downs wrote her letter to Ardern as Prime Minister, but Ardern's reply, dated November 11, was written in her capacity as Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage. The attack on our Muslim community has had a profound effect on our nation, she said, and the government is giving careful consideration to strategies for promoting inclusiveness and respect for diversity. So are we now going to include Allahu Akbar in the anthem to satisfy this diversity? Anyway, now to another one of Jacinda's long-term challenges. Hat tip to Chris for this one, and I've posted a link to this article in the description as well. Takedown notices and internet filters coming to New Zealand. The government is planning legislation that will give it increased powers to tackle the spread of terrorist content online. Proactively released documents from the Department of Internal Affairs show. A new suite of reforms will make it illegal to live stream objectionable content and give the government the ability to issue takedown notices to online content hosts, among other powers. And give the government the ability to issue takedown notices to online content hosts, among other powers. In other words, total state control of your freedom of speech. Live streaming terror attacks would be illegal. This baffles me. Why do we need a law for this when YouTube and other social media platforms quickly take the stuff down as it is? Takedown powers introduced. Second, government agencies authorised to review and confiscate objectionable content, such as the DIA or the police, will be empowered to issue takedown notices to online content hosts. These notices would only be issued for objectionable content. Objectionable content. So what does objectionable content mean? Well, they define it as material that is, quote, likely to be injurious to the public good. In other words, anything that doesn't fit their narrative, anything that doesn't fit their pro-multicultural, pro-Islam agenda. And while they're forcing this on you, Islamic terrorism continues.
Welcome back. Britain's promising to get tougher on terrorism offenders after a man went on a stabbing frenzy in South London.
The attacker, who police shot dead, had only just been released from prison for terror offences, and he was under active surveillance at the time, as our Europe correspondent Daniel Faitawa reports.
London, again under attack. This is just moments after undercover officers shoot and kill a man on an afternoon knife rampage, stabbing and injuring two people in the city south.
A police officer with the gun and keep saying him stop, stop, and then they had to shoot him more than 2 or 3 times.
Oh, so he's the victim then, not the people he's been stabbing.
Officers see a device strapped to his chest. It's fake, but triggers panic.
Sorry guys, you're going to have to close. We've got to evacuate, I'm afraid.
Within minutes, more armed officers respond. The attacker, identified as 20-year-old Sudesh Aman, was being followed by a surveillance team.
The suspect had been recently released from prison where he had been serving a sentence for Islamist-related terrorism offences.
He had served just half that sentence. UK officials insist tougher counter-terror measures are coming soon. Since 2017, UK police and MI5 have disrupted 25 further plots, the bulk of those linked to Islamist ideology. But they're also seeing more threat from extreme right groups.
Do you see what Jacinda Ardern media have just done there? They have minimised the real Islamic terror threat by adding some bogus right-wing threat into the story. Disgraceful. Yes, folks, you'll never hear Jacinda Ardern denounce the real terror threat. She knows the truth about Islam, but that doesn't matter as her globalist worldview is much more important to her. So it's quite clear she has to go this September. And Simon Bridges has just helped our chances by ruling out Winston as a prospective partner, which means right-leaning Winston supporters will bail out and go to the New Conservatives, National or ACT, meaning Winston won't reach the 5%.